Let's dive into the book. I mean, we're here now. Without any spoilers, because I'm actually reading the book.
Oh, good.
This is
Thank you.
a physical book. Nothing beats a physical book because you can grab the physical book and tap let's talk about the book. I don't have the physical book. I'm doing it on the Kindle. And
Okay.
so first chapter, I think what would you call it? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you gotta do the tap.
Yeah,
You gotta do the
really.
tapping sound on the book. Yeah, yeah. That's what I need the physical copy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm the same way. Yeah.
because yeah, well, I'll order it later on because I think that's more beneficial creator, right? What's the best way for the creator to? I would
It
imagine.
really doesn't matter, honestly. Yeah,
Okay.
it really doesn't matter. It's just a personal preference. Honestly, the Kindle, the ebook is a lot cheaper because printing costs are so ridiculous. But
Mhm.
a lot of people, like, I still like an actual book. Like,
Yeah, I need the physical. I need to fill the pages and small it. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, but for now, no Kindle. That's fine for now. But was it the forward? Would you call it the forward? It wasn't the actual chapter one yet. I don't believe it was. It was
Right. The forward.
as
Yeah.
you were mentioning, or I thought about it now because you were mentioning about how you're abusive as a
Yeah.
child, and you mentioned the Walkman with the fuzzy headphones, and that immediately connected to me. I was like, oh man, the fuzzy headphones, like the little.
I read this there, like,
And then they would get your hair. If you had long hair, they would. Oh my god, that was the worst. Your hair would get
they
stuck
get
in it.
tangled up. Yeah.
It was the price. It was the price to pay for enjoying music. But that immediately, I was just like, it brought a smile on my face. Walkman, because you mentioned tape player or cassette player, and I was just like, wow, it really brought me back. But so that was the forward. Would that be a forward, or what was that?
Yeah, whatever you call it. Some people call
Yeah.
it, yeah. I would call it a forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that immediately got me in, but I'm kind of a slow reader. I tend to just read really slow, and also my mind can kind of like
Yeah.
I'll see something, I'll read something, it'll make me think about something, and I'll just get distracted. Or I'll see a word that I'm not familiar with, and I want to look it up. I want to look up. Oh, let me see that word in the sentence, so and so. But the first chapter of Gasping for Air. What's the complete title? Gasping for Air.
Yeah. Gasping for air, the stranglehold of narcissistic abuse.
Yeah.
It's a tongue
So
twister.
the first chapter, I was reading it, and it's a bit melancholic because it's being set up like it's like you can almost imagine a mother and a father telling that story around the fireplace to their children, like, oh, this is how we met. Your dad was such a jerk when we first met. Your mom thought I was rude. It feels like one of these stories, right? But
Yeah.
knowing the book and knowing the synopsis of the story, it's not a good. It's not
Right.
a fruitful romance that's spewing, because a lot of times these stories are told like, yeah, when I first met him, he was a d-bag, or she was like whatever. I had to
Yeah.
like whatever. And I was reading it, and it almost had a smile on my face because like the little things that are happening and the way you explained everything going on of him, the 90210 ref subpar,
Yeah.
and it taking himself too serious. And then like the jab at he had broad shoulders, but he wasn't as plump in other places, like in the
He
league.
had a deeper butt.
Yeah,
He
I was
did.
like,
He
yeah,
owns it.
and I was like, I immediately saw that, and it's like the visuals, they're just on point and very good, very good.
Thank
Really
you.
immerse you in that first chapter when he came looking for an apartment, and it really got me, and it hooked me. It hooked me immediately, and obviously I'm gonna finish it in due time. But that first chapter, like, do you can you look back at it and just like, I wouldn't say laugh at it, but add humor to it, like, ugh, like the jabs you were throwing here and there, and just kind of,
Oh,
or
absolutely. I
yeah,
I think that's part of, like, the stuff you're bringing up because, well, number 1, people that know, like, my very best friend, she has always said that she's like, "You could be crying and telling me, like, this horrible thing happened to you, and then you describe something," and she's like,
yes,
"I have to bust with you because of your take on it." But
yeah,
yeah, I do a lot of pop culture references because it's stuff we can all understand and it's actually what is going through my mind. I mean, I literally did think like the way he walked in, he looked nothing like Dylan on 90210,
yeah,
but he sure thought he did. And I was like,
yeah.
no, buddy, not quite. You're not quite there. But that's just who I am. And I think that's something that, kind of surprising for people when they read it. People at least that don't know me, that I'm helping you get there, but you also have this nostalgia of things that you're reminded of your own past, and you can kind of put yourself in that time and that era and in that place. But it's also just me speaking, like kind of like I told you when we were talking about recording. I'm an off the cuff kind of a girl. I've never really danced around anything. I just say what it is. I may be wrong. I may be overstepping my bounds, but I feel like part of what makes me me is being authentic, and that's what makes everybody who they are uniquely. And so it's just my take, and it's been well received, thankfully. So thank you for sharing that those few little things have resonated with you, because that's essentially the point. I want people to get something out of it. Even if I tell people, even if you've never had a narcissistic relationship, just from a reading perspective, I feel like I've gotten really good feedback from just the way that I express myself. So I appreciate that.
It was very well done. Also, because there's some authors that I guess they get hung up on describing these things. There's so many simile likes and so alluding to other things that at a certain point it kind of gets a bit heavy with the descriptions going on. It's like right now it's still a possible bubbly, because people have these stories all the time after that, right? We got through it and now we're happily ever after. There's always that little story, but knowing that this story isn't gonna have that, or maybe it is, that kind of gets me a bit like I have to continue reading. I'm gonna continue reading, but it's still
It's like getting on a roller coaster. You just buckle yourself in and hold on, because it's a ride.
Yourself. I'm not gonna, you're over here acting like you're Mr. Hot Stuff. Go ahead. And I was like, good for you, Dana. But it was really good. It was a good chapter 1, and I'm gonna continue it. That's
Well, thank you. And I should tell you that the chapter titles are song titles because of that forward, or whatever we're going to call it, where I kind of set it up.
Yeah, you said, "Don't turn my brown eyes blue." Right?
My brown eyes blue, because that was a song that since childhood that was one of the very important songs in my life. It was a simple old country song, and I don't even listen to country.
I'm the same way. I have random songs just floating.
Yeah. And so it was something else that helped me cope as a kid, and that I hate to admit I still do now, where there are situations or people that like a song just fits it perfectly.
Yep.
So they're like my little secret game with myself. So I made it in all 3 of my books. When the next were published, it's the same thing, but a Gasping for Air. And if you go on YouTube and look up the Gasping for Air soundtrack, there I did make the soundtrack. Part of the experience with Gasping for Air is if you want to listen to the music,
I like
while you're reading it or before you read the chapter, because I get a little cheeky in my sense of humor sometimes. So like I forget which chapter it is, but I know there was one that some bad stuff went down, but like the song, and it's just the song that reminds me of that time, and what happened is kind of light and just so misplaced and so inappropriate, but that's part of what adds to the experience of reading it. So just a little tidbit.
That's cool, because if that's weird, I'm weird too, because what I do with my podcast, when I publish it on Instagram, album art or the show or whatever, I always have to sleep on a song, and the song is gonna talk to me, whatever song it may be, whatever vibe the podcast episode had or the guest had, that's the song that I'm gonna use to publish it on social media. I mean, obviously I don't own the rights to the song, so it's just the Instagram publication. It's just like, it's not the actual recording on YouTube. It's just publish it on Instagram. So whatever song is that's the song.
So you're doing the same thing that I've been doing my whole life, and it's a little game, and whatever. It's one of our quirks, I guess.